Welcome, eternal traveler. Each journey here is a whisper of the mystical and a touch of the divine. If touching the source wisdom speaks to your spirit, please like, subscribe, and share. Now relax, and let's begin. The two babies and the broken device. There are lucid dreams that feel like mere memories of imagination stitched together loosely from yesterday's noise. And then there are those other kinds, the ones that feel like you've stepped sideways into a parallel version of yourself, where everything is familiar, but nothing is quite the same. This was the latter, the kind of lucid dream that doesn't borrow from the past, but reveals something from the deeper layers of consciousness. It began on an old rural road in Kentucky, wrapped in the cool dampness of early fall. I wasn't my current age. I was young, much younger, but not the young self I remember from this lifetime. This was another version of me, another strand of consciousness running alongside the one I know. Mist hovered above the gravel. The woods breathed softly. The air carried a silence that felt like an old friend. In my hands was something strange, a smooth oval device, eggshell white, glowing faintly as if it held its own quiet intelligence. It felt alive, a keeper of truth, a witness. Up ahead stood my cousin Victoria at the end of her gravel driveway, yelling my name with a force that carried urgency, irritation, and something hidden beneath. I walked toward her slowly, cautious of the device I was holding. When I stepped within reach, I understood instantly. I was being set up. She held a heavy walking stick, thicker than anything a child should carry. And from behind a tree, her brother sprang out, snatching the device from my hands. He slammed it to the ground. Victoria raised the stick high, her eyes gleaming with something between triumph and fear, and she beat the device mercilessly until it cracked open and died. Whatever truth it held was gone. I shot awake in my bed, fully alert, breath tight. I thought about writing it down, but felt something urging me back to sleep. "There's more," it whispered. So I went back to bed. And sleep welcomed me instantly. I reawakened within the dream holding a baby. Soft, warm, peaceful. Another baby sat on the edge of a couch in front of me, squirming, whining, teetering as though the slightest breeze would knock him to the floor. The one in my arms rested with quiet serenity, perfectly content. But the one on the couch demanded every drop of attention I had. Every time I moved him, he scrambled right back to the ledge, ready to fall again. I tucked him into my left arm and did everything I could to calm him, bouncing him, soothing him, whispering to him. But his cries only grew louder. Meanwhile, the baby in my right arm, calm, ancient, silently wise, watched with gentle patience. Two babies, two energies, two selves. I placed the peaceful baby down, knowing instinctively it would be safe, and focused on the one who cried from some place deeper than discomfort. I set him gently on the couch and knelt before him. "What is wrong?" I asked. "Why won't you calm down?" Beside me appeared a tiny yellow mask, thin as paper, shaped like Tweety Bird. Strange, innocent, a symbol of humor placed in a moment of tension. I picked it up and placed it over the baby's face. Instant transformation. His hands touched the mask with wonder. Laughter erupted from him, pure, unstoppable, joyful. The peaceful baby began laughing too. Then I laughed, and soon the room vibrated with a harmony so light it didn't feel earthly. Then, just like that, the scene dissolved. I stood again in another life version of my grandparents' old home. The yard was quiet with morning stillness. Behind me sat a pristine white SUV, new, expensive, mine. For a moment, responsibility tightened my chest. I have payments on this. Then came the gentle truth. You've paid many things. You've never missed one. I walked inside. The air smelled of old wood and childhood. My father stood there saying, "The problem is that these companies use cheap parts. We're going to use good parts." And in that very instant, I saw what he meant, not metaphorically, but literally inside the lucid dream. Images appeared in my mind like a live demonstration. A thin, precise film sliding perfectly over an old vehicle door, turning something worn into something new with absolute accuracy. It was restoration, renewal, perfection. I looked around. My flat-screen TV hung on the wall. My keys sat on the table. I thought to myself, am I going to be living here again? Please no. Tell me I am not going to live here again with my parents. Suddenly, my mother's voice called from the back room, "Come on in, I'm making popcorn. We'll watch a movie." She said it cheerfully, trying to make something uncomfortable feel less threatening, trying to make what felt like regression appear like comfort. But before I could step toward her voice, everything evaporated, and I woke again in my own bed, morning light crawling across the walls of my current life. As I lay there thinking about these lucid dreams, I realized none of it was random. Nothing in the subconscious ever is. These weren't fragmented stories. They were mirrors, messages, pieces of consciousness speaking in symbols because symbols are older than language. The device my cousins destroyed. It wasn't just an object. It was truth, a truth I was carrying that others around me may not be ready to witness. Some aspects of consciousness resist revelation, even fight it, because truth is disruptive. It shifts timelines. It rearranges identity. The two babies, they were the split within every soul. The peaceful child was the eternal self, the ancient one who remembers the source. The restless child was the newly incarnated one, still learning how to be human, how to feel, how to navigate density. The Tweety Bird mask. It's a reminder that humor, innocence, and lightness can transform the heaviest emotions faster than logic or effort ever could. The SUV and its payments represents responsibility, earth-life weight. The acknowledgement that I can handle more than I sometimes think. My father, speaking of good parts, symbolizes the inner masculine rising, refusing shortcuts, insisting on integrity in all things. My mother's popcorn invitation, that is comfort trying to pull me backward, its old patterns dressed up as nostalgia. And the house itself, well, it's a version of the self I have outgrown, yet still visit in dreams because all versions of us exist simultaneously. Time only feels linear to the waking mind. As strange as it all seemed, the message was simple and unmistakable. Every character was me. Every symbol was me. Every room, every mask, every decision, me. Because the one is all, and all is one. And every lucid dream is the self showing the self its own reflection. Until the next time. And so it is.